Motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. Motherfuckers.
Welcome to the Franklin Fearman podcast. Frankly speaking, my name's Franklin Fearman, not Frank Marshall Davis. It's just a little joke. Um, this is the day after the election, and I just wanted to make a few points about this election and what it entails for our future, and how 4 more years of Obama will affect our country. And the first thing I want to get out of the way is that this election was a social issue election. And my idea or my point of that is that it seems that every time that we have a president running for re-election um, after his first term, it has been a social issue election. If you remember, Bush-Kerry was the gay marriage election. That was the social issue of the day. And it's the reason that Kerry didn't win is because the flavor of the day for that time was just happened to be more anti-gay marriage sentiment. I guess that, you know, the Democrats didn't know at that time that you need to bring in as many, minority groups as you can to vote for your party person. And that's what I think Obama did in this election to a greater extent. But back to my original statement of this being a social issue election was that you remember after after every debate, it was obvious to everyone that for the most part, for the big issues. Now, remember I spoke in the last podcast about what I consider to be big issues, like going to war with Iran, going to war with Syria, tackling a $16 trillion debt, no more police state buildup, like what we saw with George the Second, and Barack Hussein Obama the Second. That this last term, right? We saw a great buildup of anti-civil liberties, anti-constitutional behavior by both the Republican George W. Bush and the Democrat Barack Hussein Obama II. Now, on smaller issues, the social issues, the issues that I believe are totally dependent on a well-functioning republic that is not corrupt, not running under crony capitalism, you would expect to find all of those things inherent in them. If you remember, before Hitler took over in Germany, and this is well documented by Naomi Wolf, and I'll concede that my only source to this information is Rhodes Scholar, feminist author Naomi Wolf in her second book, The End of America. Nazi Germany had women's rights. It had social clubs. Homosexuality wasn't necessarily frowned upon or not. And then, of course, we know the rest of the story. The National Socialist Party under Hitler took control, and the rest is history. Now, nowadays, and this is my problem, is that we get so hung up on these social issues that we forget the bigger pictures. But obviously, it doesn't matter to the average American person. And if those issues that I just addressed did actually matter to the American electorate, well, we wouldn't see Romney as a contender. In fact, we probably wouldn't see any mainstream Republican contending against Obama. And this, of course, is just me speculating. This is just my imagination. It would be some sort of third party coming out that would be, very libertarian, I guess you would say. I am a libertarian. Those are my political stances on things, is that I think that government should be small or smaller. I think that we should stay out of foreign wars unless we're being directly threatened with attack. I think that we should have, if anything, government should be there to regulate crony capitalism, which is rife right now, which is why we had the health care bill, which was written in large part, according to the New York Times, by the 100 major insurance companies under a symposium. So we definitely have a merger of corporations in state in this country, which Mussolini coined the term fascism. That's what that is. And I know that sounds very extreme, or what do I want to say? Hyperbole, which the definition of hyperbole is to say something simply for the effect of saying it. That's not hyperbole. Fascism, by definition, is that, and that is what we, by definition, have. Now, I was saying that I kind of got away with myself there on a rant, but social issues, that's what it was. Social issues. So we didn't have a third party candidate come out and, step in and, save the day. No, we had two guys who, in all the debates, never disagreed with each other on bombing Iran. No talk about the National Defense Authorization Act, which is being fought by both left-leaning and right-leaning journalists right now. They're suing the Obama administration because of his administration and him signing this into law, because it's an unconstitutional law. So where do we go from here, and what do we see? Do we think that things will get better under Barack Obama? I don't believe so at all, because either Barack Obama doesn't understand economics, and therefore doesn't understand that the Keynesian model that obviously the Federal Reserve is acting under right now is not working. And it's not working because we don't have the same manufacturing base that we had back during World War II. That was an infrastructure of manufacturing that we had. We don't have that anymore. That's why you have the greatest sectors of the economy right now in the private sector are medical and medicinal, hospital. I'm just going to clump that into one. And the next biggest one is the service sector industry, which would be your retail, your hospitality industries. And you can't base an economy on those two and expect it to flourish, because those aren't going to give as many jobs, because by their very nature, they don't allow for a strong entrepreneurial spirit that we would have seen during the 40s and the 50s and earlier, where someone could maybe start a small business with less taxation, with less government oversight. Now, this is why, and I was thinking about this before I recorded this. This is why I think that Obama is a racist president, is because he runs on a collectivist platform, which is to say that you didn't build that, and that his acceptance speech last night was, there is no individual, or this isn't about the individual. And if you look at the way he operates, he sold himself specifically to all the minority groups in this country that he could. And this is one thing that kind of made me wonder, like, was Romney a ringer? Was Obama, or was Romney just in this to lose it? Because Romney didn't reach out to any minority group whatsoever. He didn't reach out to the gays and lesbians. He didn't reach out to the young vote. He didn't reach out to women. He didn't reach out to the Hispanics. He didn't reach out to any minority group. He didn't reach out to black people. He didn't even try. I don't know if he was doing it on purpose, or maybe he was just an idiot, that he thought that, oh, I've got this, or that my whole base. And let me say this. If you were to take all those minority groups that I just listed, put them all together, they would be a majority in this country. All women, let's be honest, most women, 80% of women, 65% of all Hispanics, like 80% of the African American vote. I mean, give me a break. So I'm almost thinking Romney was sort of a ringer, but I don't know why. And that I could speculate that the powers that be that run both candidates just wanted Obama for a second term. That may be the case, and I can't prove that one way or the other. But with Obama, I almost think that he is a sort of a racist president, in the sense that I haven't seen him do anything to bring black people up in this country. Bringing someone up does not mean that you put them in a dependent state. It means that you offer them greater opportunities to be independent on their own. And I haven't seen Obama do any of that in his entire 4 years of presidency, nor have I even heard him pay lip service to it, which is to say, I can tell that the problem with this country is that we lost our manufacturing base. Therefore, we've lost a great chunk of our middle class. The middle class throughout history has always been the enemy to the elite class, as it was in the French Revolution. These were the bourgeoisie. You see, the bourgeoisie, or the middle class in this country, are the only class that is close enough to the upper class that they can break into it and then therefore seize a little bit of control, a little bit of the piece of the pie of control from the elitists who are running it right now. Which is why all elitists want to destroy the middle class, because the middle class is prosperous enough to have time to pursue politics and pursue power-based uh, um, a power-based career, politics. It's the poor classes that the rich elite in France and the rich elite in the United States try to win over to pit them against the middle class. And that's obviously what's happening in the United States right now. And so I can tell you that it would be bringing jobs back from overseas, and Obama hasn't done any of that. In fact, further, I think it seems as though he's pushed a anti middle class stance to, I mean, I don't know. It seems as though he has been pushing for more food stamps, more government dependence. I mean, if he hasn't, it's been what's happened over the last 4 years. We've had more food stamps than we have under any president before us. So, what do we expect to see in the next 4 years? This is my prediction. My prediction is that in the next 4 years, you will see to a greater extent, more of this dependence class being built up. And because nothing's being done to address the real cause of poverty, because that's the thing. No one, I don't think, as a libertarian, and of course I may be naive, I'll admit that no one says that you shouldn't help other people. No one says that if someone's poor, you shouldn't help them with some food or some money. But I say you help them by giving them opportunities to succeed. You don't address, if someone has their arm bleeding, you don't just keep covering it up with a bandage. You sew it up so that they no longer are bleeding. You don't just always just manage the problem. You try to solve the problem, and that we don't see that. So in the next 4 years, I can see an increase of this dependence class, and I would say sooner rather than later, we'll probably see a significant crash of our economy, if not now, but uh, before next year. And I can't imagine what will happen with the implementation of the healthcare bill. But those are my 2 cents. And today is the day after the election. So far, no violence. So far, no rioting. Um, for me, it was just one giant douche versus a giant shit sandwich, and it didn't really matter to me which one won because, uh, you know, neither of them are going to fix or solve any of our problems in this country. Stay tuned to the next one. I've got some more to say about Romney the ringer and more to say about Obama the globalist. Thank you.